to the show. Now, for me, fall can't come fast enough. This is my favorite time of year. The leaves are changing, the air is crisp. So today, we are all about embracing the season and getting fall in a flash. Might not know this about me, but when the fall hits, I very, very quickly shift into potato mode. And I take it very seriously. Yeah, right? I feel like we got a couple potato heads out here as well. Now, I basically want to be eating potatoes in some delicious form as frequently as possible. Boiled, mashed, in a stew, you know, all those things. But one of my favorite childhood renditions was a twice-baked potato. Do you remember those? I used to go to this little restaurant in Pickering, Ontario called Melanie Pringles. I don't think it's still a thing. And we would get those little potato skins. Oh my gosh, it's like a fry. It's crispy. You got that delicious kind of filling. But today, since we are doing fall in a flash, I wanted to show you how to get those delicious flavors quickly without all that stuffing. So this is my twice-baked potato casserole. I love a casserole. I'm never mad at a casserole. This recipe actually is from my show Mary Makes It Easy, which airs on CTV Live, and it's now streaming on Crave. When I made this, the crew went bananas. We had so many potatoes, it was so good. So I wanted to show you here today, because again, we're shifting into potato mode. So first thing we need to do is get to work on our potatoes. Now for this casserole, you need just over a kilo of baking potatoes. I like using baking potatoes for this because that's traditionally what's used in a twice-baked potato. Sometimes with mashed potatoes, I do like a Yukon Gold. But this one, go with a russet. So what I've done here is I've given these a really good scrub. So what you do, give those a good peel, save those peels because those are gonna come in handy later. Then you wanna quarter those potatoes and just pop them into a pot. So I've got some right here and I've got my pot and this pot is full of cold tap water. Anytime I am boiling a potato, you wanna start them in cold water. Essentially, potatoes are like starch bombs. They're really, really dense. And by starting them in cold water, it slowly brings the temperature up so they cook nice and evenly. You don't end up with like overcooked mush potato and then like hard crunchy potato on the inside. That'll be good to go. Now to flavor those up and to flavor everything as it keeps going, I've got 4 cloves of garlic here that I've peeled. So I'm gonna add those right on into the water, season that up with a good amount of salt, and then you wanna bring that to a boil. I like to boil mine over medium-high heat. Once that comes up to a boil, you want to let those go for about 15 to 20 minutes, just until fork tender. That garlic is gonna get sweet and cooked down. Those potatoes are gonna get tender, and you're gonna end up with cooked potatoes. Not the cutest thing in the world, but honestly, one of my favorite flavors. So good. So now I'm gonna take this with that garlic and all over to the sink and give these a drain. This is the scariest part. This is where I get to show off my muscles with this heavy pot. Now I've got those potatoes all drained and I'm just gonna add those right on into the pot. Anytime I'm making a potato, I like to use a pot big enough that I can mix everything in it so I'm not mucking up a new kind of dish. Now over here, I'm gonna get to work on building up this mashed potato kind of filling, kind of like what you'd find in a twice-baked potato. So I've got those potatoes. So into there, I'm gonna add in about half a cup of buttermilk. So I'm gonna add that right on in. Then into there, I'm also going in with about half a cup of sour cream. Basically anything that's creamy in your fridge, feel free to add it into here. In addition to that creaminess, also going in with a half a cup of cream cheese. Y'all, it's fine. We're all working on, it's fall. We gotta stay warm somehow. All right, add those on in. And then I'm also gonna add in, this is completely optional. You do not need this, but I'm gonna add it. I'm gonna add 3 tablespoons of butter just for fun. But you don't have to. If you don't, you won't miss it, but listen, I love butter, so I'm gonna add it in. Now, I like to start my potatoes with a hand masher just to get things going, just to kind of get the party started. And then I usually switch to a hand mixer. I actually like my potatoes on the more kind of fluffy side. You don't want to overmix them though. If you do like a more chunky mashed potato, you can feel free to stick with just a hand mixer the whole time or a hand masher. But if you do like it fluffy and lighter and creamy, feel free to use that hand mixer. Don't overdo it though. If you overdo it, do you know what it turns into? This is not their first potato rodeo. It turns into glue, and you do not want gluey potatoes. I have you know what? I'm not even gonna tell you my relation to them because I don't wanna out them on TV. But they would make mashed potatoes with an immersion blender. It was sticky and not great and really hard to wash. Actually, my other potato tip, as soon as you are done with this, Get that in the sink as quickly as you can, or else that is turning into potato cement. We don't want that. Now I'm gonna switch over to my hand mixer and just give this a little bit of a beat. And while I'm mixing that, I'm gonna add in some salt. Now, for me, I think potatoes can handle a good amount of salt. So just start adding until it tastes right to you. I'll hold back for the sake of television, but honestly, at home, I'd probably add a lot more salt than that. But that's who I am. All right, that is looking beautiful to me. Again, you don't wanna overmix it. Now you get to add in those flavors, those things everyone loves about a twice-baked potato. So I've got about 6 strips of bacon here that are cooked crisp. So I'm just gonna cut that up just into little bits. For this whole recipe, you want about 8 strips total, because you want a little bit of garnish on there. I'm gonna add all these though, right on into the mix. And then for a little bit of bright green freshness, I've got a few green onions here that I'm just gonna thinly slice up, just to add on in. Again, anytime I'm making a potato, I like to add some green or some color because they are very, very beige, which doesn't bug me. This is the time of year where beige food gets to be celebrated, you know? Not the cutest, but boy, oh geez, it's delish. Now give that a mix up. And then just in case we don't have enough creaminess and flavor going on there, I'm gonna throw in about half a cup of grated orange cheddar as well, because that's one of my favorite things. All right. Basically anything you think is delicious in a potato, throw it in there. Now I am gonna transfer this beautiful mixture into a casserole dish. I'm just actually using a 9x9 baking dish. You just wanna scoop it out and slop it in there. And I don't know if anything makes me feel more like a lunch lady than scooping potatoes out, and it's an absolute delight. All right, so get those all into that mix. Looking beautiful. Oops, there we go. Potatoes in. And then you just wanna spread that out. Now this pan has been greased, so that's gonna be beautiful. It's not gonna stick. And I'm gonna transfer those into my 400-degree oven for about 10 minutes. I wanna start that cooking process just to get them a little bit golden brown. Now while those get going, let's talk peels. So remember, we've saved our potato peels that we peeled off earlier. So we've got those right here, and they are perfect. These turned into a little chip. Absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna pop those onto a sheet pan. There's no frying required. This all gets done in the oven. Onto there, I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of olive oil. Now, if you were someone who maybe cooked that bacon earlier and you were smart enough to save that bacon fat, you don't even need to buy oil. That's just free flavor right there. So add that on, season that with a little bit of salt. And then I'm just gonna go in with my hand just to give that a toss. The key here is you want those all nice and evenly coated. So they're gonna crisp up and get absolutely beautiful. Now I'm gonna grab these as well as this extra cup of cheddar, head on over to the oven. This has been in there for about 10 minutes. So now I'm gonna add those potato skins onto the bottom rack. Those are gonna start crisping up. I'm gonna pull out this beautiful potato mixture that's getting a little craggly on top. And I'm just gonna scatter the top with that cheese. That's gonna give you that top with all that delicious meltiness. All right, pop that back in the oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, just until that cheese is melted, just until those potato skins are totally crispy and wonderful. And you end up with 2 things that look like this. Honestly, it's the potato skins for me. They look like little chips. Isn't that fun? Now we've got that casserole that's looking delightful. If you want, right, you could top that with chopped bacon. I'm not gonna lie, we did make this one for the vegetarians in the crowd. There's no bacon in there, but I am going on with some green onions. And then those crispy, can you hear that? Oh, just a big old pile right in the middle. Now that, to me, it looks like a twice-baked potato casserole. Absolutely delish. I'm just digging right on in, though. Here we go, into the corner. A little bit of potato, a little bit of chip. Oh my gosh. Happy potato season, everybody. Let's do it. Put that on your Thanksgiving table. No one's leaving. Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.